first win over Tom, first playoff road win in 30 years are the streaks they're looking at. And the team is insisting that what has happened in the past has nothing to do with the now. What do you make of that streak? You know, I guess where I'm coming from here, just to lay it out for you, and then I want your guys' thoughts, is, you know, they say organizations win championships. And when a team is really bad, they say, oh, well, you know, that organization is trash. That's why the Commanders, the Lions, the Browns, for a long time the Cardinals, you know, can't get out of their own way. So you can't have it both ways. We know organizations win championships. We know bad teams stay in the cellar. What you are over the last 30 years isn't a coincidence. It's how your leadership looks at winning and what it takes to win and what they're willing to settle for at quarterback. Had an undrafted guy, now you have a fourth-round guy. Build teams that only make the playoffs. Never go for it. This is what you're going to get. Teams that can't go on the road and win playoff games. Who do? Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Front offices that stockpile their teams with high first-round picks because they go through a couple 2-3 year period where they're really, really bad. They're willing to rebuild. Cowboys aren't willing to rebuild. So they get a Micah Parsons, you know, but they don't get the collection of great players in a condensed period of time that going all the way to the bottom gets you. So you're willing to settle for just good enough franchise quarterbacks. You don't go through stretches of time where you're picking in the top 10 and accumulating legit 5-star blue chip players. And your front office believes in conservatively managing the salary cap. So what you get are teams that A, aren't good enough to win multiple playoff games and certainly aren't good enough to win road playoff games. The last time you were maybe that good, well, it was with Jimmy Johnson, and then maybe Parcells had you headed in that direction, but, you know, he got old and wanted to retire. So the Cowboys not winning road playoff games is a result of how they build teams. So absolutely, the guys today, they have an opportunity to change that history, but in the end, they are the end product of a team that looks at team building the way that the Cowboys do. The only thing that really takes teams outside of their leadership, a visionary GM, a Hall of Fame quarterback, happened in Indianapolis with Peyton Manning, happened in Denver with Peyton Manning, happened in Tampa with Tom Brady. But other than those guys like dropping in, Kansas City Chiefs couldn't win a home playoff game for 4 decades. What'd they get? Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Now they win home playoff games and road playoff games, and they go to the Super Bowl. You know, that's what does it. So I would say yes. You know, unfortunately, guys like Tony Romo and Dak Prescott aren't good enough to win road playoff games until the front office stocks their team one way or another, either overcommitting finances or dominating drafts, you know, like the 49ers do. 49ers also have a visionary head coach. So, you know, I think this roster is a continuation over the last 30 years. That's where I am. And we need somebody to appear here like Tom Brady. You know, he made the Patriots for 20 years. You got Belichick now. Why can't he do it? Oh, well, it's because the Hall of Fame quarterback left. So, you know, your front office, your organization is going to dictate how good you are. The only trump card is a Hall of Fame quarterback. And here we are now, like, spinning our wheels and hoping something changes. But, man, I definitely don't think it will. And I think we need the head coach to recognize that. We need the head coach to be able to go into the Joneses' office and say, guys, our quarterback isn't good enough and the depth isn't good enough. You have to spend money if we want to win road playoff games. We have to pick one of these next 2 years that I'm under contract with and attack free agency with full gusto and full force. That's what you need from a head coach, not a head coach that's willing to let the Joneses dictate reality. They don't know how to win a championship. That much is obvious. I held the floor for too long. What do you guys think?
Well, this coach has won a championship before. I think this quarterback has shown that he's better than just good enough a lot of times, and his Hall of Fame potential is still all the way out there. And a night like tonight would really, I would say, propel that right? Everything's out in front of them tonight. And for as much as team building and getting the blue chips, I think they got a lot of blue chips. When you look across the roster, there's plenty of blue chips to go around. They won 12 games. They're going up against a team that is sub 500 with a point differential that's negative 45, I believe, on the season. So I think they have a very real chance to go in there tonight and get the victory. Now, can they go on a huge run? That's remained to be seen. But winning tonight's game and getting the ball rolling, I think there's a very real chance they can do that. And Vegas is telling you they are the better team, despite all the ways they've team built. And I think Micah Parsons is a blue chip player. Zach Martin still absolutely is. Think at times DeMarcus Lawrence is a blue chip player pretty much all the time. Trayvon Diggs, blue chip player. CeeDee Lamb's become that. Tony Pollard is that. And Dak, on any given day, can be that. Hopefully today's that day. You go into Brady's house and beat him in the playoffs for the first time in an organization's history, the first road game in 30 plus years. You're talking about laying the foundation for that Hall of Fame second half of your career, Dak. It's all right there for you. It's a huge legacy game. And you got a coach on the sideline that's done it before. He did it with the Hall of Fame quarterback. He needs his quarterback now to step into that light. And it's all there for him.
Yeah, it's this is a huge game for Dak and building that foundation of, hey, can you be the guy? If they lose tonight, then absolutely, we're going to be having conversations the entire offseason on, do you need to move on from your quarterback if you want to take the next step? No matter if you're a Dak Prescott fan or if you have always been the anti-Dak Prescott crowd, because there's nobody that's in the middle, right? It's either like, hey, you're one way or the other. That's why it gets toxic anytime you start talking about Dak. But overall, Gavin, I have to agree with the majority of what you said. The last 30 years, you as an organization have failed, and you have left the standard to be the likes of the Lions and Washington. That's where you are.
Jerry even acknowledged it talking about Romo's career. Biggest regret, not doing enough to get him a Super Bowl.
I mean, it's the proof is in, hey, you haven't reached a conference championship game in the NFC. Who are the other teams that have not done that? It's those two. So absolutely, you have failed to succeed in the postseason. A big reason why is you refuse to ever actually rebuild.
Brian, I hate to shortchange a man of your wisdom, but do you have like 30 seconds, your take on this topic?
Yeah, you weren't good enough to beat the Rams on the road because of your defense. You lost to the Packers on a missed call, and you were a botched hold away from beating Seattle on the road. Maybe history changes or looks at you a little differently if somehow you can win those road games.